Ethan Klein is apparently literally using the Donald Trump strategy of trying to bleed their opponents dry for everything they have to silence them. This is so insane, says Onion Person, because apparently he is looking to sue Shonda Black as well now. Like, it's so transparently a mechanism of bullying people through frivolous litigation. And even if the litigation doesn't go anywhere, which it won't, for the record, it doesn't matter, because the point is not to actually win the point is not to actually win any sort of like damages. The point is to damage the opposition by putting them under a mountain of paperwork that's incredibly costly. I assume that's part of the reason why he hasn't tried some shit like this with me, and he's just going after all these other people who are much smaller content creators who don't have the same financial freedom to be able to do so. So he basically said, oh, you guys said I was misogynistic. Well, guess what? I'm suing a black man now. and then turned around and apparently released this. He said, I understand my announcement that I'm going to sue Shonda Black was upsetting to some. Therefore, in an act of superhuman grace, I will make you this offer. If the Snark subreddit, Taylor Lorenz, and Cat 10 Barge all apologize for calling me a misogynist, I will consider dropping the lawsuit against Sean. This offer expires on Sunday at 11:59 p.m. I thought this was all about copyright litigation. What do you mean? So he's just dangling litigation against people, random people, because other people have hurt his feelings by correctly calling him a misogynist? How is this just legal extortion? This is like extortion through litigation. Yeah, this is the last thing I'll say about this, but Ethan Klein is using me to force accomplished women journalists to grovel to him is ironically exactly the misogyny he claims is inaccurate in this very post. He presents a false choice. 1, grovel to him as he exerts the control he wants to feel over women. 2, deny him whatever gratification he gets from that narcissistic behavior and subsequently be blamed by him for a smaller creator being sued. I reject this choice. F you, Ethan. And not even giving them the option for the women groveling to release the other women from the lawsuit. Carefully crafted to only humiliate and inconvenience women. Amazing. Is it legal misusing litigation like this? Guys, I don't think you understand. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because he has a ton of money. Okay? Until he is deprived of all of that money, he can just do this permanently. Okay? That's it. Like everyone, it's really interesting because like everyone understands that this is all completely ridiculous. Some people try to act as though there is a real purpose behind this. There's a real way to finally take down these copyright abusers, right? That's not the case. He's just using a patent troll method. He couldn't do this in any other court. That's why he had to go and get his video copyrighted ahead of time. YouTube just responded on Twitter to calls for people banning him. We really appreciate you bringing this to our attention. Mind reporting the channel and the official reporting tool if you haven't yet. No, this is just this is automated. This is not real. The chances of him actually succeeding in court are very little. You can file California bar complaints against this lawyer for vexatious litigation, I believe. Yeah, that's just a bot. Open presence. Thank you for the 100 Get the subs. Look, you know what's really ironic about this? The initial copyright suits that he filed against Frogan, Denims, and Caseytron, some of which are literally in the original work that he put out there, right, is basically because he doesn't like them and he doesn't like the way that they reacted to the work. Anything else he says about this is it is a way to try and silence criticism. And under different circumstances, he would get hit with a he would get hit with an anti-slap, but he can't here because it's on federal courts over copyright. He's using the one most effective method to be able to sue people successfully, which is what patent trolls use. He's basically behaving like a patent troll to stop people from reacting to his videos, and not even to stop people from reacting to his videos, but just to, hurt financially the people that cannot undergo this incredibly long and incredibly costly process. It's just to bully them, because he's not doing this to Asmongold. He's not doing this to XQC. It's not like their reaction was like tremendously better than, I don't know, Denims or Frogan, who was primarily featured in the work, by the way. For Frogan especially, she's literally slandered in this work that she's responding to. Okay? And he's not doing it to me because, again, he can't get the same satisfaction. I'm a much larger content creator. I don't have the same, like, I have a lot of enemies for sure, so he can probably galvanize them. But I'm a much larger content creator that can put up a stronger opposition and can withstand litigation like this. These other content creators cannot. It's a very calculated move. But think about it. It's not like a earnest copyright litigation. And ironically enough, if this were to set some like new standard, some new precedent for copyright in terms of like React content on the internet, okay? This would actually harm half the snark commentary slop tubers themselves, and yet they're still willingly joining in on the battle because they hate the people that Ethan is bullying. That's it. They don't even realize that this might have negative consequences for themselves if it sets a new precedent for how content creation is done online. But I don't think it'll happen regardless. They already set precedent, and their own precedent will use to shut down H3 for their claim. I know, but it doesn't matter, because if that is a costly legal battle, ultimately, that costly legal battle is still a victory for Ethan because he was able to bully these people. And they're receiving death threats in the process. People are on them. All of these other like orbiters that suckle on the teat are salivating with like extra drama. And I go through this back and forth where I'm like, should I not cover this at all? But also because I know that's what he wants. Ultimately, he wants attention. He's like a petulant child, a pathetic crybaby, a permanent victim, right? But also at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I mean, I feel like if I don't give any attention to this with my platform, it's like, then I feel like I'm leaving these people defenseless. He has also admitted multiple times he wants to hurt you financially through them as if you were their legal guardian. No, I know. That's why he keeps saying like, oh, socialist, why won't he give these guys money? Trust me, if I offer support, you won't know about it. Okay? Beyond what I've done thus far, you will never hear about it. And I wish everyone would stop talking about him. The more orbiters on both sides talk about him, the angrier he gets. All talking about it does lead to more hate to them. I know, which is why I'm trying to play this balancing act here. How large a part of his content is this shit? It's his entire content. That's the only thing. And yes, no, he didn't add me to the lawsuit because he begged me to watch his video. I'm almost certain. A lot of people have suspected that Ethan never actually planned to sue people. No, he did. I think he wanted to sue me. I think he wanted to make the nuke, and then when I reacted to it, sue me. I think that was his grand design, but it failed spectacularly because I just didn't watch it, and he cried on camera and begged for me to watch it. And then when I ended up watching it months later, I watched it for 9 hours, so it'd be really, really stupid. This is why we need more leftists to get involved in the fight for free speech online. There are laws that could protect against this, but we need people to fight for them. There are several clips of E saying that he's only suing them because he's richer than them and wants to punish them using the legal system. The judge would throw out the claim in a second, but this is about financially hurting the people he doesn't like, so the damage would still happen in the lead up. Yeah, that's it. Someone get legal on this? No big YouTuber will tackle this issue. I'm sorry, because they don't want to go after Ethan because he's a maniac. That's number one. And number two, I don't think they like any of the people Ethan is attacking anyway. You have to realize a lot of these guys, a lot of content creators are sharks. And only after the permission structure opens up for after some brave content creators actually come out and say something, big enough content creators come out and say something, not even myself, because again, I'm in the dangerous camp because I have political opinions that they don't, even if they agree, they don't want to like openly go out and defend. Even if they literally agree, it's the same as the Cody Co situation. It took like D'Angelo Wallace to come out and make a video for everyone else to open up the floodgates. Legal YouTubers and free speech people are extra quiet. No, I think there's some legal YouTubers who have covered it, but they're like pro Ethan. In any case, what was I going to say? Yeah, to cover this would mean talking on Israel-Palestine, which they are not equipped to do and want to fence it on. Exactly. So from a legal standpoint, he's right. Not necessarily. I don't even think he has, I don't even think these are lawsuits that he will win, for the record. But patent trolls, here's what patent trolls do. Okay? Patent trolls will sit on a patent or like will make like minor changes to a patent and go to large corporations, not with the hopes of like actually winning a lawsuit, but with the hopes of settling out of court. Okay? Ethan doesn't want to settle out of court because what could be the actual damages that he has incurred in this process that he could settle out of court with? Patent trolls are never the large company actually patent trolling smaller creators or smaller inventors. It's actually the opposite. It's people that just want to farm money off of large companies. And for many large companies, because copyright claims are fairly airtight, large companies would rather not go through the expensive paperwork that would be more costly to them. So they will just pay off the person and tell them to off, right? Because that's significantly cheaper for them. But in this circumstance, you can't even tell Ethan to off by paying him because the amount that I suspect he's demanding from these content creators is insane, probably. And it's insane on purpose because the goal here is not to actually reach a settlement. And I don't know why. I don't know why people don't recognize that. He does want to settle. He wants them to apologize and delete their videos. No, he wants money from them too. An impossible amount of money. Frogan said he's asking for 150K. There you go. Do you think that's a valid claim? Do you think that Denims or Frogan or Casey Tron with their individual YouTube videos or even in their Twitch streams actually raised $150,000, stole $150,000 from Ethan? Do you think that that's what happened here? No, of course not. The reason why that price is so high is because settlement is impossible. 150K is the maximum allowed by law for copyright lawsuits. Jesus Christ. 150K is the max he can seek from them because the law dictates the max you can get in damages. This is not even a shakedown. This is not even extortion. I don't think you guys understand. This is just legal bullying, okay? He wants these people to suffer, and he knows he can do that because he has money. He can't do it any other way. He can't do it the normal route. He can't just like constantly talk about, you know, how they are because that gets boring after a while. So he's trying to jam them up with paperwork, and in defense of this, this insane lawsuit, he hopes that he can suffer and make content for himself in the process. Isn't there anti-slap in California? This is not in California courts. As far as I understand, I think this is literally at copyright claims happening at the federal courts. This is not like a California litigation. It's a federal lawsuit. That's why he actually copyrighted, like patented his YouTube video. Logan Paul is doing the same suit to CopyZilla. All this while snark subreddits and similar harassment just caused another creator to commit suicide. Yeah, I heard about that. The Fox Sanctuary woman. It's so sad. The legal complaints are in California for Denims and Frogan. Wait, what do you mean? Yeah, call it for what it is. He's abusing the legal system the way stalkers do. No, that's precisely what he's doing. But in this circumstance, because the legal system is busted, because the legal system is fundamentally broken, if you have a lot of money, you can do this kind of thing. When you're depraved and you're manic and you're an insane person and you don't care about like wasting unlimited funds, especially considering that he does technically have virtually unlimited funds, you can be a vexatious litigant. It's like having a mentally ill stalker who has an unlimited amount of money and power, and not only does he have an unlimited amount of money and power, he also makes content off of this. So it turns into more money for him down the line. That's it. That's what it is. And given the way that our legal system works, given the way that our court system works, given the way that copyright works, there's really nothing you can do about it other than hope that it goes away eventually. Just like cyber stalkers, we do not have an adequate measure against cyber stalking. And just like stalking in general, we don't have the best possible measures. So the only thing you can do about cyber stalking is basically hope that they just calm down, take medication, stop stalking you. There's really nothing else you can do about it. Look, even now, when I'm talking about this stuff, like there's still people chiming in to say like, oh, what are you afraid of, Hasan? Like there's a couple foot soldiers here and there and orbiters here and there that will come in and say something snide, right? But there's 40,000 people in here. So obviously that doesn't do anything to me. And plus I eat this shit on a daily basis. This is not my first foray with like weirdo content creators and their communities, right? Oh, stop cry bullying your friends because your friends are having consequences beneath you. Like, see, this is what I mean. It's just like the point here is to be a nuisance, right? That's it. Then maybe don't be malicious and transformative. Then maybe be transformative and not malicious. Like they're just repeating stuff that they think sticks. Okay. If you're a smaller content creator and you have this kind of constantly in your chat, especially while you're also working through a immensely wealthy psychopath stalking you and actively using frivolous litigation to harm you. And then on top of that, their audience members, because he's a larger content creator than you, are coming in to constantly point at you and laugh. Like he wants these people to commit suicide. Like that's what it is. He is trying to actively stalk and harass these smaller content creators and jam them up with frivolous litigation that he has directed specifically to harass and intimidate them into submission with the hopes that they will commit suicide. And that's what his content is now. Okay? That's it. That is quite literally, this is Kiwi Farm. Like that is precisely what he's doing. There are entire communities on the scary, not often talked about side of the internet that engage in this kind of behavior. Yeah, I can't believe I'm talking about this because I saw Abby Martin, a important journalist, going, everything I see from this guy is hateful and condescending, genuinely baffling. He has such a large audience. If you did the same thing as Ethan, right wing would be on your ass quicker than quicksand. Of course. But if I did the same thing as Ethan, I'd be a depraved sociopath and an immensely weak person who thinks that he can make up for whatever sense of lost purpose he has in his own life by constantly engaging in this kind of ridiculous quote unquote drama that is ultimately very consequential for the people that are in the crosshairs. I don't have this level of hatred for anyone. I don't have this level of hatred for Ethan. I'd much rather have him be happy and just stop doing this like what kind of freak derives enjoyment out of this? I don't understand. Anyway, he'll only stop when he loses a good chunk of his money. I don't even think so. I think I think that the only way he stops is if people just like don't give a shit about it at all. And he is forced to find something else to do, like goofs and gaffs again, if we can ever even go back to that at all. Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what I mean. I mean, this is so insane. This is from Ethan Klein's lawsuit, which is supposed to be about copyright infringement. Apparently, he mentions me in all of these lawsuits like hundreds of times. In the wake of October 7th, Hasan emerged as a modern incarnation of the Grand Mufti Haj Amin al-Husseini. Like al-Husseini, Hasan became a passionate advocate and highly charismatic leader of the Palestinian cause. Like al-Husseini, Hasan used his massive platform to spread genocidal rhetoric about anyone advocating for the right of Jewish self-determination in their ancestral homeland, i.e. Zionists. The primary difference between Hasan and al-Husseini is that al-Husseini worked with the Nazis and advocated for the annihilation of Jews, while Hasan advocates for the annihilation of all Zionists. I do not. Since the vast majority of Jews in the United States say caring about Israel, and then, yeah, he posted, they put the footage of this. Like, this is under different circumstances, like, if Ethan wasn't who he was, and his targets weren't people that like all of the grossest losers online despise and enjoy making fun of and enjoy lolcowing and derive satisfaction from seeing them suffer, people would look at this and be like, this is the most schizophrenic thing I've ever read. What the are you talking about? Like, this is the manifesto of a schizo stalker right before they do a school shooting. Like, this is the equivalent. But instead, when you have hundreds of millions of dollars or tens of millions of dollars, you get to hire a lawyer to put this in a legal filing. This is also partially the reason why I think a lawyer said it's just for the lawyers to eat up time, so it will cost more for them. That could be the case. But I also think that this is ultimately such a silly lawsuit, like such a frivolous and stupid lawsuit that like any judge would look at this and be like, what the is this? This is crazy. Especially considering that there are so many instances where he has, one, mentioned that, why do you say that? What do you mean? Why do I say that? It's pretty self-explanatory. Do you not understand? Lol de fafo. Oh, this is another person who's defending this insanely stupid thing that is most likely not going to go anywhere, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to go anywhere. This lawsuit is not about winning a serious award for some serious financial harm that came to Ethan Klein. That's not it at all. And I think pretty much every single person that is also advocating for this while cynically claiming that this is like a super brave thing that Ethan is doing and is a real game changer is doing so because they just hate Frogan, Casey Tron, and Denims. That's it. Why'd you unban them? Because I'm a freak. Every L3 defender on Reddit is also a sex pest and dick rider. We can stop pretending they're separate communities. I mean, I don't think they are, but it doesn't matter. If they win against him, they can get compensation from him for lawyer cause. Yeah, this is what E wants. Unlimited harassment. Asmongold calls out Casey Tron for attacking other streamers with lies. Predicts her life will only get worse after the lawsuits. Yeah, this is what it is. It's content for like literally the grossest scumbags on the planet. It's not even about winning a moral victory because he's openly saying he's doing it for nefarious reasons. That's the worst part of all his fans are just riding for being evil. I guess evil maxing. Yeah. It's that simple. They don't like Casey Tron. They don't like Frogan. Okay? They have no principles. They don't care about the repercussions of such a lawsuit if there was any sort of serious victory here for Ethan and any sort of precedent that was set. And it is just to churn out content for some of the grossest scumbags who get off on hurting random content creators that they will never know, but they've identified as like enemies. And H3, just like any other big male streamer who enables harassment, will look at this and go, you brought this onto yourself, and I don't control my audience, while whining how Hasan didn't ban every chatter who called Ethan a genocide supporter. Oh yeah, that too. YouTuber Ethan Klein's latest lawsuit against Twitch streamer Casey Tron has brought on such an onslaught of hate comments and suicide wishes against her that she says it honestly feels like people are trying to get me to kill myself. They're even taking bets via Robinhood on her committing suicide. The internet has made us so incredibly awful. It's made us so not human. I saw a lawyer that said he has a good chance because all three stated they're streaming it to have a place for people to watch it without supporting Ethan. Did they? Like, I feel like, especially for Morgan, it's like she's the primary focus in the lawsuit. I mean, not the lawsuit, the primary focus on the content. Casey's the sole provider for her disabled parents. They were blue-collar workers and are now elderly and rely on her. They did not say that. Yeah, they did, unfortunately. Ethan has been tagging Robinhood, trying to get Robinhood mad at Reddit for letting people post about the bets. I went through a lot of negative replies to Casey Tron, and 90% of them are clearly right-wingers or sex pastini fans. No, I know. I think even stating intent, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not a judge. And I'm not engaged in, what is this? People should tag Robinhood at to ask if they're aware that Reddit is saying they take bets on if someone will commit suicide. And saying that Reddit allows subreddits like FOMO to operate with impunity. 10K likes front page accusing Robinhood of Robinhood app. Dude, this is an insane person, dude. This is not like, he is not mentally well. I don't know what else to say. He's crashing out and hasn't stopped at all. So it's like alarming that there are people who are fans of this sort of behavior. I'm going to unban this guy again. Like, it's not normal. Especially when he openly admitted that he wants to sue Shonda Black and then turned around and hung over the head of two female journalists who implied that Ethan Klein is misogynistic for unleashing a torrent of misogynistic hate towards these 3 female content creators he was like suing maliciously, not for any real purpose. And then he's like, oh, I'll drop the lawsuit if they apologize. How much you want to bet? Even if they apologize, he won't drop that lawsuit. He'll just claim that it wasn't a sufficient apology or something, because it's literally about enforcing power. It's about trying to have some kind of power over people. He will not actually drop this lawsuit or even decide to even fill this lawsuit. This is not about this lawsuit at all. It's just about having power over people, thinking that he has power over people. Real freak shit. Why do people closest to him not get him help? Because the people closest to him either don't give a shit and are enjoying this, or they're paid to be there. They're paid to baby him. This is a powerless man who understands that he is no longer one of the primary leaders of this content creation sphere, and his relevance is waning, and his allies are marginal. So he's desperate for any sort of support he can get, which is why he's relying on even grosser and grosser right-wing figures to build some sense of community, not realizing the long-term consequences that will have on his own psyche down the long run. His subscription count is going down. His revenue sources are going down. I suspect even Teddy Fresh is not doing well. And in that process, like, one of the people that he tried to take down, me, he sees not experiencing these repercussions. So he just changes priorities and he changes targets against people who he could at least harm financially for simply even defending themselves in this frivolous litigation. There's a video on TikTok with 3.4 million views of someone destroying a Teddy Fresh hoodie. Yeah. So this is his way of striking out and lashing out like a petulant child, like a spoiled little kid. And he wants to feel some kind of power. Guys, this is the safe space right now to openly say Teddy Fresh hasn't made a singular item that I can picture any actual human wearing in a non-ironic way, if that makes sense. Like, who genuinely is like waiting for the next drop? I'm being serious. Come out now or else. 220,000 likes. God damn. There it is. Ethan makes another story post saying Taylor and Kat's apologies. Okay, well. Ethan makes another post saying Taylor and Kat's apologies aren't good enough. They both gave you apologies. You don't get to dictate the language they use. That's not how that works. You don't have to accept it, but then the burden's on you. Ethan will never back down. He just wants to who wants him to grovel. He's a sick abuser, and frankly, he lives watching this happen to other women and posting bikini pics on the same vacation as your husband and harassing other women is on some sick shit. Give it a rest, man, and just get it back to Twitter. Get back on Twitter at this point. If you're using it by proxy in your subreddits, it's weird to not research things yourself. Sarcastic non-apologies will not be accepted. Snark, I need a mod to sticky a post with a heartfelt apology. Like, dude, how pathetic do you have to be? How pathetic of a person are you where you're like, meh, this subreddit that doesn't like me needs to also say, this subreddit also needs to apologize to me, but do it in a way where I feel good about it. It's so weird. What can be done to remedy this type of situation? Not much. Unfortunately, the best thing you can do is just like avoid it, hope it goes away, or collective action. That's the other thing. Like if enough people, if enough content creators got together, like back in the day when content creators did some, there was like a sense of community, right? There was a sense of community and people would just like kind of handle it. They'd be like, what the are you doing? People would get yelled at quite a bit by large content creators. There was definitely a little bit of like a social pressure, right? There was definitely a little bit of a social pressure that was created. What? To be clear, my boy Ethan's move is 100% bad faith. How do you justify watching Ethan in bad faith is my point. What? What are you talking about? Anyway, my point is, this is what it used to, this is like under different circumstances back in the day when shit like this happened online, other content creators would be like, this is unacceptable. Like even if it was a known bad content creator, there were certain things, there were certain lines you didn't cross, like going after their advertisers, right? A lot of people who under different circumstances would say, no, I don't like this content creator, but I don't think you should go after their advertisers. Like this kind of here's the base take. He should have sued a lot of them, Asmongold and XQC. No, because then he wouldn't be able to get support from them. You already admitted it's bad faith. Do you understand what I mean though? Like Leafy is here, or there are numerous examples of people that were just like cast aside as pariahs. But nowadays, a lot of the people that do speak out about this, a lot of people that do speak out about this kind of stuff are actually some of the most awful people, right? It's Keemstar orbiters that rely on this constant cycle of toxicity. So even the good side of commentary YouTube just basically stays quiet. And a lot of the big content creators try to stay away from this drama because they don't want this kind of toxicity to come their way, which is understandable. Nobody wants this kind of a psychopath up their asshole all the time. But that's the problem. The less people push back against people like this, or even Asmongold, for example, for saying a whole bunch of insane things that actually make this space that we occupy a less safe space for a lot of our fans that are trans or have undocumented family members or themselves are undocumented or not white. You know what I mean? Like when none of us push back against these large content creators, and all of the big content creators that normally understand that this kind of thing is completely unacceptable, or even what Asmongold is doing is completely unacceptable, keeps silent, the only voices you hear create a new permission structure that make it seem as though everyone actually has this point of view. Everyone actually agrees with Ethan, because the only people that I hear from are people who agree with Ethan, right? Or the only people that I hear from are people who agree with Asmon. And anyone who speaks out against Asmon is the recipient of an endless torrent of hate. I try to explain to people that this, like content creators, that this kind of silence in this circumstance unironically creates a less safe environment for everyone, including themselves, because these guys will eventually move on and will go after someone else. And eventually it'll be someone that you love, right? Or even if it's like Asmon and Ethan, I bracket off in different ways. Like Asmon is just right-wing reactionary and is just doing reactionary right-wing propaganda. Ethan is doing frivolous lawsuits and litigation in a way that actually is like very harmful to the space in a different way, right? He also does engage in some reactionary tendencies as well, but like overall, they're making a more toxic environment. So when content creators are afraid of being involved in this because they see this as like toxic drama, they don't realize, but they end up creating a permission structure for this kind of attitude to persist. And that's it. And it just keeps growing. It won't go anywhere unless people push back. So what are we waiting for? You know, what are larger content creators waiting for? For someone to kill themselves after this endless torrent of hatred? Only then will they turn around and say, oh, how could this have happened? How sad, you know? So that you can, in the aftermath, when the dust is settled, when it's actually appropriate for you to be able to say something, when it's no longer considered toxic for you to say something, will you then turn around and go, oh, who could have seen this? Keemstar didn't stop with Etika. And I suspect Ethan won't stop either. That's it.